sound if you did this for free. I know that's my stingy.
Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody is having a fabulous day. I'm so excited tonight. This is Sylvia Johnson. I am sitting in for Camille, the Success Scholar, and this is elifemedia.net. Holla at the Success Scholar. Well, tonight, I'm excited. I have been waiting for this discussion since we discussed it over a week ago. Yeah. That's right. So my guest in studio is the one and only. She really does not need an introduction.
Sure I do.
Candice Camille. So Candice, I'm doing the live stream for my Vegan Pro family.
Okay.
And so I want to acknowledge my Vegan Pro family. It's the site that I'm the administrator for.
Okay.
And so we're all about sharing information on wellness and health and veganism.
Yes.
And just providing great information. And so tonight, for us, I said this is going to be a grown woman's conversation.
I like it.
Yes. So if you're squeamish, if you are squeamish.
So does that mean we're doing a disclaimer right now?
We're doing a disclaimer. Or easily offended, I would suggest that you turn off your computer.
Oh my! Don't turn it off because there's some good stuff.
There's some good stuff though, but some people get a little sensitive, Candice, and I don't want people to get sensitive. So I want you to tell us about yourself.
Okay.
You have so much going on, and you are so phenomenal. So come on, let's go.
All right, I'm Candice Camille. How y'all doing? Thanks for having me here, Sylvia. You see, I'm still getting it together. So,
yes,
as CEOs, OOOs,
yes,
only operating officer of your business.
That's right.
You have to just get it together. So I'm actually just coming from my gym. So I actually train and do classes on. So I'm in my work clothes. So when y'all see me all glammed up, I'm playing. This is just straight up work clothes right here.
I know.
So I am owner-operator of Puriforia Wellness Boutique, CEO of Candice Camille Enterprises, where I actually operate as chief wellologist.
Yes.
And most folks say, what's a wellologist?
Tell us.
What's a wellologist? Oh, it's something I made up just because. I want to be different,
yes,
right? And actually I made it up because as a wellness coach, I didn't want to be called a wellness coach. To be well, it just takes so much more than just eating right and moving, so it's the whole pie.
Yes.
So we talk about eating, whether you decide to be a vegan, a carnivore, a pescatarian, or whatever it is that you're feeding, it takes more than that to be well.
That's right.
It takes more than just movement to be well, So one of the things I always tell my clients, listen, you can't get your body tight if your mind ain't right.
Oh.
Yeah, right? You just can't.
That's true.
So it takes some mind work to do this. So you really have to do some mind mapping as you go through with your clients and being well. So you got to work on the physical. You got to work on the mental. You got to work on the spiritual. You got to work on your passion. And you got to work on your money.
Yes.
You got to work on your money.
People don't realize all that goes hand in hand.
Yes.
If one thing is off, then everything else, it's like a snowball effect, right?
You better know it.
Oh my God!
You better know it. And especially as it relates to money, because for a lot of us, that's what we're going after. And when it's not right, everything is out of order. So I think when you are financially well, mentally well, spiritually well, even purposefully well, that you get that whole pie along with being physically fit.
Yes.
So and mentally, because it takes so much to do it. So that's why I call myself a wellologist, because I teach you to do all of that. You need that whole pie in order to walk in your greatness.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned earlier, as entrepreneurs, because when I do this segment, I usually do it once a month. I sit in for Haki. And I usually interview women in business.
Okay.
So tonight we are combining some of my great loves. First of all, entrepreneurship, women in business, science, health and wellness. It couldn't get any better for me tonight.
And science, for those that don't know me, I'm a geek.
Yes.
So, it's all about the numbers.
Yes.
life is about the numbers. How are things adding up? You see, 'cause most of the time we have an equation, and it doesn't equal out because as women, entrepreneurs, we're not in our own equation.
Never.
We're not in it. So there is an unequal balance. So you're never going to get the right answer.
That's right.
Simply because you're not in the equation.
Right.
And that's just some real talk.
Yeah.
And we keep talking about it. We keep talking about it. My grandma, what you gonna do about it?
Right.
My grandmother would say, I don't know, because she cussed a little.
I think we can curse. Should we desire to do so?
So I'm just repeating what my grandma said. My grandma said, you either gonna move your mouth or you gonna move your ass.
That's right. That's right.
So for me, I'd be like, you selling wolf tickets,
yes,
or are you gonna move?
Yes,
right.
And it's interesting that your grandmother's statement brings this in my head right now because as we are approaching Mother's Day, and bless you, Mother's Day, and other holidays in which we celebrate women, we got to start having real conversations with women, and we're not doing that. We're not doing what we need to do. We need to really, really focus on taking or either reclaiming our health, our intake, our diets. People like to say diets. I say intake.
I say meal plan.
You say meal plan? I say intake.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important. I mean, right now I'm looking at all these little fad things that are going on, and people are jumping on it, and they're thinking it's the miracle.
Well, you can't get well in a bottle.
Thank you.
You can't get well by taking a pill.
Yeah.
You can't get well by drinking a shake.
Yeah.
Or
rubbing on a cream.
Or rubbing a cream or drinking a tea. There's no shortcut. So when we talk about that, you look at this thing as a staircase. And we need to get to step 10.
Yes,
right?
we do. Yes.
So many of us want to go to step 2 and skip 3 through 9.
Yes.
You can't skip 3 through 9 and expect to reach 10 and everything gonna be okay. See, when you try to take that shortcut and jump all the way to 10, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna reach it, but you're gonna fall.
You're gonna fall. And you're gonna fall hard. And I talk about that. I talk about the importance of exercise. Like you say, you just came in from teaching your class. I talk about that. And there's so many people, I don't want to work out. I don't want to sweat. Really? I don't want to mess my hair up, please. You can make a hair appointment.
So, but that's
or whatever.
What's the 3 biggest excuses why we don't work out?
What is the time?
Come on.
Time. What? What else?
Come on, think about it. Just think. You said
I don't make excuses.
Right.
I don't make excuses because
I do talk to a lot of women now. So you're
talking about they're talking about they don't have the time. They don't. They too many responsibilities.
Okay.
Job, children, whatever. And then some people are just plain old lazy.
Don't make me laugh up in there.
People are just lazy.
But that's true. But the 3 biggest excuses that people pull out of the excuse bag, and we all have our excuse bag, right? So it's time.
Yeah.
It's money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's sweat.
Yeah.
For those of us sweating out our hair or sweating running down our back.
I love that feeling.
Yeah.
That just it's a freeing.
But you know what?
Getting rid of those toxins.
But there's some science behind that, right? So when you talked about sweating, you are literally taking a shower on the inside.
You are.
So did y'all get that? You're cleaning places that water can't get to. See, you can't get in the shower and clean your liver. You can't get in the shower and clean your gallbladder. So it ain't got nothing to do with the shower and the pancreas. If you want to get in there and start cleansing from the inside out, you gotta sweat. So how do you sweat? You move, right? You gotta move.
You move everything.
So what about movement? Movement does not occur until when?
You take an action.
Until you move.
That's right.
It's just that simple.
That's right.
And we overthink what we have to do. I don't want to do it. It's too hard. It hurts. We can come
I can't find a place. I can't walk outside. It's too cold. It's too wet.
It's too hot. It's too dry. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. My mama said I couldn't do it. I mean, you can pull out every excuse. in the book, but at the end of the day, like you said, we're just too lazy and we don't want to.
And you know what, Candice, the thing that I realize, because I work out, sometimes Haki and I will go together. A lot of times I'll go by myself. But I realized a long time ago that I can't really have a committed workout buddy. That's just me, because my schedule is so inflexible at times.
Wow.
And so I know people say you should have that person because you're accountable. But for me, the folks that I tried to do that with on a consistent basis, they always came up with an excuse. I'm going to be working late. I got to pick my children up. I got water boiling on the stove. It was always something. It impacted me.
So we don't like to tell people they lying, right? So confabulation, right, Rose?
Yes.
So we confabulate.
Yes.
So that's the lies, true lies.
It's an alternative truth.
Some alternative facts right here. That's right. And it's pretty much we done lied so long it becomes our truth,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And at the end of the day, who says that a person had to be accountable, right? Who said that a person had?
Right.
So even as you go and you do your workout with high key or not, who are you accountable to?
You're accountable to yourself.
Come on now.
Primarily yourself. Period.
You get to
end of story.
End of story. People say, Candice, how do you do this? Who holds you accountable? See, for me, just a little bit more about myself, my background, I'm a cancer conqueror. So I'm accountable to cancer.
See?
So let me tell you something. And they was like, well, why would you be accountable to something negative? According to who?
Yes.
That it's negative,
yes.
number one.
Yes.
It became negative because I fed it to negativity. But in terms of it being my accountability partner, it keeps me in line because that thing I don't want ever to come back again in my life. So it keeps me on the straight and narrow.
Yes.
So it makes me get up and do what's necessary because again, it doesn't scare me, but I remember what I went through. It's the reason why I don't give my body sugar. It's the reason why I work out every day while I move.
That's right.
I'm not giving it a reason. See, we all got cancer cells in our body.
Yes, we do.
It determines if it's going to be benign or malignant as to what we feed it.
That's
so
right.
What are you feeding you?
That's right.
So if you have these diseases, diabetes, come on now, if you have hypertension, you got heart disease, you're feeding yourself these diseases. Right. We'd rather take 2 pills than to take 2 stairs.
And let me tell you the statement that bothers me. Now, you may not know, I'm a cell biologist. Okay. I know you're respiratory.
Yes.
And I'm a cell biologist. Okay. And I did research for many, many years. And worked for the Food and Drug Administration for a very, very long time.
So you got some inside stuff.
I got some inside stuff. So my philosophy, and we're going to talk about some other things too. That's why I say this is a grown woman's conversation tonight. So, so my philosophy on some things are very different than the traditional scientific community in medicine. So when you mention hypertension and diabetes, and I hear people say, well, hypertension runs in my family. Every time I hear that, I just want to scream and scratch somebody's eyes out.
But again, that's
ridiculous.
a confabulation.
Right.
It's a confabulation simply because your family's DNA don't have to be your future DNA.
Say that again. Say that one. Say that one more time.
Your family's DNA does not have to be your future DNA. Because one of the things, it's in all of our families. We all predisposed to it just by who we are as African Americans. So if you know anything about the Second Passage, when you're talking about how the slaves came over here and how they were preserved in salt and how they retained. Yes. So that sort of thing is already running through our blood. So it's there. Right. So if that's the case, then we all should have it.
Yes.
But some of us do and some of us don't. But we choose to have it. And see, that is the thing. And you'll sit here and say, what the heck? I didn't choose to have this. It's in my family. But you know what? It's your family. It doesn't mean that you have to have it.
Exactly.
And that's what, my mom died from cancer. My mom died hypertension, she had the mastectomy. But you know what? I've warded that stuff off.
Yes.
Because again, it's in your family. But when you take better care of yourself, you ward it off and you give yourself a better chance of living longer. By making yourself
accountable. But you know what? When you know better, Candice, you do better. And when you educate yourself.
No, see, I don't believe that.
You don't believe in educating yourself?
No. We educated,
yes,
right? And we know better.
Yes.
But why we ain't doing better?
Because we don't.
But no, see, here's the deal. Here's the question, right? Y'all ready for this question?
Okay.
What are you pretending not to know? What are you pretending not to know? See, because when you hear the statement, you know better, we do better. Come on now.
It's a cliche.
It's a cliche. It's so cliche. It's because we know what we got to do. Every time when you eat something you're not supposed to, when you're diabetic, and you put it in your mouth, you know better, but you're not doing better.
Exactly.
See, what are you pretending not to know? See, you're pretending that this thing is not going to catch me. I'm going to take me an extra pill.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? See, now you worked in this. I'm going to take me an extra pill, but I'm going to eat that. Yeah. See, I tell my clients, and it sounds a little harsh. I'm like, the next time you pick up that soda that you drink, and look at it as your leg. Because if you keep drinking that soda, you might as well go ahead and take your leg off and just pour from there, because that's exactly what's going to happen to you. See, because if you don't look at your life as a blessing, movement as a blessing, when you're dealing with these chronic diseases, you're going to be a burden to somebody else.
Absolutely.
See, you have to take power. Like, even when you talk about science and why we're not thinking that why aren't we doing better? And I thought about this for a long time, did some research, and everything. And here's what some of the things I found and some of the things I came up with just by working is because we were never taught it.
Right.
As a kid, for me, and most of us growing up, what did your parents teach you about getting older and going through life?
Right. They don't really prepare you.
They don't prepare your body.
You just watch what they do. You watch what they eat. And what they eat is probably what their parents ate and what their parents and what their grandparents, the cycle continues. Right.
And they never taught us really the value of this vessel.
Right.
We were taught, you know what, baby, you got to go to school. You got to get a good job.
Right.
Matter of fact, you got to get yourself a good government job.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to get your pension.
That's right.
And then you got to retire.
There you go.
And then you got to die.
And die. but before you die, you have to live off of half of what you couldn't live on a full-time schedule, on a full-time job.
But
let's make sure we add that
no point did they tell us how important the vehicle is that was going to get us to all those places. We weren't taught the value of our bodies. We weren't taught how important this vessel is to get us to that job.
That's right.
To that business.
That's right.
So we can increase our bank. See, we were taught to build up our money retirement, but we weren't taught to build up our body retirement. See,
and what is the purpose of having longevity and you have a poor quality of life?
Well, that's the
health-wise.
That's the $64,000 valley, because I think Steve Jobs, or somebody that did his biography, said it fits that the most expensive bed there is a sick bed. So when you make all that money, right? You wind up spending it trying to get well.
Yeah.
His life is something to look at and say, this man had money on top of money on top of money on top of money.
Yes. And it didn't keep him here.
Didn't keep him here.
So
what was missing in that equation? He was in Apple all day long, all night long.
Right.
He gave it his all.
Yes, he did.
Because if you can't even speak about Apple without speaking about him.
Of course.
But where is he now?
He's a memory.
And Apple goes on.
And that's just like life. If you don't take care of yourself, if you don't take your life seriously, You will be someone that people remember,
Yes.
put flowers on, cry over on your birthday and on holidays. But it's time that we reclaim. That's why I say reclaim this temple, and treat it the way it's supposed to be treated.
So do we really know what that is? And that's the thing, because even in this day and age of internet, the web, it is so much information out here.
Yeah, it is.
It is overwhelming.
Yeah, it
and I
is.
think a lot of us look at it and be like, so where do I start?
Right.
Because you can push a button down and get any information. And, you know, I'm this old school chick. You know, I still pick me up a book.
I love a book. I love a book.
I still go to the library, you know, so and read. But at the end of the day, you get right back down to the basics.
Right.
We are overthinking everything.
Yes, we are.
We are basics. So how do you get well? You eat well, right? You move well. You sleep
You
well.
sleep.
You breathe well.
That's right.
Right? That makes you think well,
Right.
and that makes you live well.
Right.
It's just that simple.
Right.
You know, so like I said, we done made something that's so very, very simple just get complex, complicated. So how do we get back to simplicity? And that's my whole foundation of what I teach. You know, it's eat well, move well, sleep well, right? And breathe well. Because think about it. We just don't breathe.
Tell us what you mean by breathe well. Tell us.
You know, because you think you wake up, you breathing, right?
Right.
But most of our shoulders are up around our necks. We are breathing very, very shallow. It's very seldom that we breathe in life. So when you take a deep breath, because think about what is breath. We came in, and what did they have to do to the baby to make him live?
Gotta smack it one time.
To do what?
Breathe.
To breathe.
That's right.
And then you got life, right?
That's right.
So just think about breath for a minute. The deeper you breathe, right? The more life you get,
That's right.
Because if breath is life, if you go deep, you got more life.
That's right.
So we breathe very shallow. We don't even realize how important the air movement around our bodies, the oxygen.
The oxygen.
So when you're talking about the science
That's right.
and how the carbon and how the toxins is peeled off, it's basically through oxygen and how
right.
we're inhaling
That's
and
right.
exhaling.
Right.
So if you're not breathing, I watch women all day long. Do you know how many of us hold our lips? And when you hold your lip, you stop breathing. So that's why I added breathing in.
I like that.
We walk around holding, taking seconds
Yeah.
off our life every single day simply because we're in holding pattern. So breathe,
Right.
make some noise, because you can't talk, you can't scream, you can't laugh, you
Right.
can't yell
Right.
without breathing.
That's true. That's true. Yes.
So
Yes,
it's
that's
like,
right.
that's why it's so
Yes.
important, because it allows, it's life. So if you want more life, you breathe more, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Without breath, you have no life.
Absolutely.
None.
Absolutely.
Zero.
And if you don't, and from a scientific perspective, if you're talking about your cells,
Come on.
and you're talking about the health and wellness of your body, your body is made up of just cells. And that those cells are carrying nutrients and oxygen. And some of us, we don't get it. We just don't get it.
But to do it simplistic, it says, okay, it's going to reach the cellular level. What does that mean?
Yeah, to the layman. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Like, okay, so what does that mean to me? I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing of what's in my body.
Right.
I know I wake up, I breathe, I pee, I poop,
Right.
and that's about good
That's
as
about
it
yeah.
gets.
And I celebrate that.
And maybe I poop. So you don't
Yeah.
even know the importance of that.
Exactly.
See, you don't even know the importance of just voiding.
Right.
You know, so, and even with that, and the fact that you don't,
Yeah.
you know, all the toxins
There's
and
some
the
people
poisons.
who don't, Candice. There's some people who do not have a bowel movement for weeks.
You know, my grandmother again say a crap a day keeps a doctor a day. Never mind the apple.
See, that's what I'm saying. And I mean, you know, I did this post one time about, expelling your urine. and what your urine is supposed to look like. You know, and telling people, hey, don't be afraid to look back.
It's yours.
It's yours. It came from your body.
You better know what's going on
What's
up in
going
there.
on with you. And that brings me right here to grown woman conversation. Let's talk about sisters, women in general.
Okay.
I had an opportunity to talk with a young lady over the weekend, young lady, you know, preteen.
Okay.
And we were just talking about, you know, your intake, different things that she's going through, you know, the menstrual cycle, the cramps, the uncomfortableness. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about things that women can do to assist in some of the discomfort that we may be feeling around our menstrual cycles and the importance of a healthy menstrual cycle. See, we're always trying to stop stuff, slow stuff down, you know.
You gotta let life take its
You gotta
course,
let
right?
life take its course.
You know, and it boils down to everything that we say, though. Even especially for my daughter that had started going through menstrual early and you know, having the cramps and what to do. So when she started having it, was right at the time that I was coming out of cancer. You know, so I was living well. So at this point, we were changing the foods that we already ate. Say then I didn't know what was going on, but what I did know is that in order to keep the cancer out of my body, I had to change the way my family ate.
That's right.
So when I changed the way that we started to eat, when we stopped eating meat, you know, when we became vegetarians, you know, and then I became a vegan, not my children. So they were pescatarians.
Yes.
My husband was a vegetarian. I was a vegan. So we had 3 levels of what was going on in my house. And we came from straight up being carnivores, you know, but understanding that one of my Bibles, I say, was Back to Eden, the book. And it's a book that talks about how to eat from the earth. You know, how they ate way back when, in BC times, you know, in 80 times, and what kept them, you know, how Christ got through to what he did in order to live. And even for the animals that live back there, you know, you don't see animals eating up on each other. You don't see them eating other animals. They ate what was on the land. So the book teaches you to don't eat anything that walks across the earth.
Isn't that something?
Don't eat anything.
The flesh.
The flesh.
Don't eat the flesh.
Don't eat the flesh. So that's what I started. But what I started noticing is that the body start getting cleansing. The bowel movements start being the way that they're supposed to, 2, 3, 4 times a day. Every time that we ate.
And the consistency of the bowel movement.
Exactly. It just flowed the way it's supposed
Absolutely.
to go. You know, we didn't have to go to the bathroom and sit down and get a book and read and wait. You know?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
It was like, so it just flowed. But with that being said, I noticed what it started doing to her. Right? So then I started looking up what nutrients that we needed in our body, what was necessary, and how did I get it? What food that we were able to get it to? What supplements? Because I'm a supplement person, you know, from back then. I had to go find out what was not in the food and how do I supplement it with it, because you think about it, unless we're growing our own food, unless we're getting it from the farm down the street, because one of the things when we talk about organic, when we talk about, you know, buying at the grocery store, if you can buy from the farm down the street, it's better than organic from California. You know, so it's like, where are you getting your food? What are you eating? So when I started eating what we call clean, her symptoms started to subside.
So give us some examples of what you consider clean.
Okay, we stopped eating sugar.
Sugar, salt.
Sugar, salt. But one of the things that don't artificials,
everything.
Yeah, crap. So when you're talking about crap, carbonated drinks, refined sugars, additives, and processed foods, you know, preservatives, that's crap. So we stopped eating all of that. We stopped eating everything out of the can. Everything was fresh. So I noticed that her cramps weren't getting better, especially when we stopped the sugar. That was the hardest thing to take away from a kid.
I bet it was.
Yeah, so stop eating, carbonated drink. That's one of the biggest sodas. I wrote a thing the other day that soda and sitting is the new smoking.
It is. That's kind of, it's the addiction of it.
Yeah.
And you know what? And even the restaurants, they're supersizing, everything. And
it's all processed.
Yeah, it's all processed. But I'll tell you, I do some work in Philadelphia, and they've added a beverage tax, and it is working.
Good.
Because in my client site, they have a vending machine, and they have the sodas, and I noticed that people will buy the water because it's cheaper. The water is $1.25. The sodas, I think, are $1.75.
So they buy the water.
Well, it's working. So you have to retrain people on how they think.
But are they really retraining them on how they think?
No,
it's two things.
They're just punishing them.
but you're just getting a bonus out of it simply because at the end of the day, what's important to us is our money.
Yeah.
Because if that soda was within their money, they'll still go and get it.
Yeah.
So that's them making them pay for bad health.
Right.
So, but here's the thing on that: at least in that moment in Philadelphia, in that vending machine, we're choosing not to pay for bad health. So that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
So that's a good thing.
Yes.
But again, you have to decide, what's important. Is those cramps important to you?
Right.
So even as a teenager, when you think about it, you go crying to mommy and you want her to fix it. Right. But you got some responsibility when you're out and you're in places like McDonald's and all of this supersizing and eating all this crap. You are responsible for you as well, especially if you're going out paying your money.
Right.
You can't get up crying because you got cramps, and then you're going to go eat $5 worth of candy.
Absolutely.
And then come home. You have to take some responsibility, even as a teenager, into your own health. But as a parent, so here I go as a parent.
No, as a parent.
See, we are derelict in our duties when we don't
are.
teach them
right.
to be better, when we are giving them this stuff. And if this is pinching anybody, if this is grown folks talk, let me tell you something. As a parent, as a mother, it is our responsibility in the household to make sure that our family is well.
That's right.
We are responsible for that.
That's right.
So if you're feeding your family crap, that's exactly what it's going to be.
That's right.
Now, even if we get back to, I can't afford it, so we go back to the money. So you're talking about distress situations. I can't afford this. It's like, okay, you can't afford this, but I'm looking at the way that you're dressed.
Exactly. Yes.
Right there
Right.
could have been a whole lot of dentists.
Right.
Good ones.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I say about people. I mean, walking outside is free. If you don't want to pay for like a gym membership or something. But you could, all kinds of excuses. We just keep going back to it. And for the young ladies who are going through, discomfort with their menstrual cycles. I mean, the nutrients that you need in your teens versus your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s are very, very different. But it's a mindset and starting to instill certain healthy principles. If I'm going to sit there and I have a son, so I don't have the menstrual cramp situation with my son. Thank God.
Get the acne with them.
Yeah,
now.
the acne. Yeah, he was getting the acne, and I insisted that he start, drinking more water. And now he does not drink sodas anymore. So he doesn't drink sodas, and he's an athlete, and he was chugging Gatorade.
Worse.
The worst thing ever, right? Because that's what they tell them to drink when you're athletes and you're in college or whatever. But now he drinks coconut water. So it's just teaching.
That's all it is. And teaching them, and then teaching them to choose wisely.
Yes.
Because that's what it is when you're talking about reading labels. But as a kid, you say, why I gotta do all this stuff?
Why can't I just consume?
Why I can't consume?
Yeah.
But again, as a kid, you go home and you eat what your parents have brought.
There you go.
And what they so at the end of the day, they are our responsibility.
That's right.
So even for the young ladies that's going through the cramps, the young men that's going through the acne and the things that's happening to them, it is around what they eat. But when they realize, you know what, when I didn't drink this soda this week, I didn't get this bump.
Right.
You know, when I didn't eat all of this stuff, my cramps wasn't as bad.
Right.
So again, it's you being in tune to your body and understanding what's happening to you from minute to minute, from hour to hour, day to day, week to week, month to month. So it's again, is you taking notice of yourself and your parents just giving you what it is that you need. And we're so busy. You know, we're busy, we're working, you know, economy, society, everything is so expensive. So it allows us always on the run. You know, I'm on the run all day long, but anybody that knows me got a backpack full of the stuff that I need. So I won't go out, because if you don't have it available,
you'll just look for any quick substitute, right?
Because you're hungry.
Right.
You'll just eat it. You know, I got my green drink in my bag. You know, I got my coconut water. I got my protein stuff. You know, I'm fixing my food. But at the end of the day, for kids, we are responsible.
Yes.
For us, we're responsible. So at the end of the day, what are we doing? And so, and just for people who get distressed, again, back to my story. I was homeless once in my life. Me and my daughter lived in a phone booth. I know what it is to steal. I know what it is to eat out the garbage. So when you talk about who are you to talk about this, you don't know my story. You're absolutely right. You don't know my story. I lived on the street. I ate out the garbage. I stole when I had to feed me and my daughter. I was hoping you didn't like your pizza so I can eat it.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So when you in those situations and you don't have a choice, see, because when you're talking about choices, but when you have a choice, therein lies a different story.
There you go.
See,
no excuse.
No excuse when you have a choice. You know, so even with me, I hated it. So what did I do? Man, I went and got me a job in a restaurant, see, because I'm going to eat they leftovers.
That's right.
You know, while I was homeless. So it's like you have a choice.
Yes.
You know, so it's like, what choices do you make when you do it? So when you have a choice, you have to choose better.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
You get to decide.
Yes, you do. And you know what? It's really interesting because I'm going to stay on this touchy situation here about consumption and people. You are what you eat. I truly believe that, and it comes out in your pores. Okay, it truly it's excreted in your pores. And I did a video, I'd say maybe over a year ago now, and I talked about smells. You know, and you know, I got some comments back from some gentlemen who thanked me. Okay, because
you're welcome.
Because some of us, Candice, we don't smell so good.
Listen, smell like somebody done crawl up us and died. Come on now, I'm gonna get real. We did some grown folks talk, right?
Grown folks conversation.
This is some grown folks talk. Like, what the heck? You know, so even not realizing what's going on, the toxins, you know, the gases that's going on in your body, you know, and function, you know, it's just real. We chuckle about it, but when you actually have that smell, and it's not only when you have the flatulence going on. You know, it's just normal that's coming through your pores, and that's your smell. You know, but when you eating the meat, when you're eating all the crap, again, the processed foods and all that stuff, that's the stuff that causes all of this.
Yes, it does.
So what are you going to do about it? So, and that's what it said. So even as the gentleman, thank you. And I love it that the guy said something.
Yeah, the women, they felt like, you know, I was being too hard, but I'm going to keep it real. I'm a scientist. So I speak very candidly about things. And I actually brought it up because a gentleman contacted me and said, Well, he asked me for a recommendation on something. And I said, well, I'm going to put it out there if you don't mind. And he said, no, I absolutely do not mind.
Well, a
and so I put it out there.
Right, recommendation on what's going on, because let's just be frankly clear. It comes from everywhere.
Right.
When you're not eating right, you get a little cha-cha, you get a little, all that stuff.
Yes.
So it comes from every orifice of your body. I mean, we're just talking about bodies now.
Yes.
So understanding your body and what's happening to it. Not only understanding your body, but see, I jump on the side of loving your body. When all of that stuff that's going on and you know it, come on, you smell yourself.
But why do we try to act like we don't? Why do we try to act? And stop putting perfume on. You are not fooling anybody.
You're like, okay, we need to go do something right now. You want to hold like that? You like at the end of this day, y'all, I ain't raising my hand. Look, I've been working out all day. So look, normally you see my hands going, but look, I've been working out all day. And I told Sylvia I'm gonna come over here and do this show, but I've been at it since 5:30 this morning. So look, some stuff go on.
That's right. But Candice, what's the excuse for the people who have not worked out? They just walking around.
They just trifling. Come on now.
Oh, it's a little earthy. Earthy? What earth smells like that? Come on now.
Well, again, a confabulation. So when you start talking about earthy, those are just the true lies you tell yourself.
Right.
When all you need is a little soap and water. Little soap and water. It's like you eat every day, you bathe every day,
right.
And maybe 2 times a day.
Right. Maybe 3.
Maybe 3. It depends on what it is. But the fact of the matter is, for the gentleman to ask you that question and to ask you to go into it, there's an issue going on.
Right.
So it's a matter of, what are you, we can sit here and we can talk about this all day long.
That's right.
We can talk about everything that's wrong. But what are you going to do about it?
Right.
So we can come up and we can go over what's wrong. So my question is, what's good? When you go through it, what's good about it? So because we talk about we're not working out. So let's talk about, when we talk about what we're not doing, what are we doing that's good? Can you come up with 3 things as it relates to an unfit entrepreneur?
Oh my God. But that we're not doing?
No, what's good? So no, not that we're not doing, because most of us that are entrepreneurs, we're unfit. So I try not to go over here to the left. I try to go over here to the right to sort of keep me borderline.
Yeah.
So when I go over here to the right, then I say, so what's good? When you talk about an entrepreneur, what's good is them working in their business, right?
Yeah.
And them working on their bank.
Right.
That's the only thing I come up with. See, you're not in the...
You wasn't happy with that, were you?
No.
You got the unfit entrepreneur. What you doing?
I do see a lot of unfit entrepreneurs.
You sit.
I do.
It's
behind a desk.
Yeah,
they don't move.
They don't
even get up to go get their mail. They'll call their admin. Can you bring my mail? It's like your mail is on the end of your desk.
You
don't want to get up and go to the end of your desk.
You're right. So there's only that over there.
Yeah.
So even when I'm trying to stay on the positive of it, it's super, super difficult. It's super, super difficult because it's like, I don't think negative about anything.
Right.
But when I jump into that situation and I ask myself, what's the 3? What's the 3? I could not come up with 3. Because you're, and not only that, you're working in your business and you're supposed to be building your bank. Yeah. But it ain't happening because you don't even understand the correlation of your body,
that's right,
your business, your bank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a direct correlation. Yeah. So you sitting for 14 hours and you trying to figure out, I done read the same 5 sentence. This sentence 5 times. I can't think. I don't know what this is. But you have not got up, got you some water. You haven't gotten nothing to eat.
To the bathroom.
You haven't gone to pee. So you just sitting there reading the same sentence.
Right.
You trying to figure out what these 3 words are
basking
saying.
In your earthliness. You're sitting at your desk
basking in your earthliness. You don't move. You sitting there.
Right.
And then not only that, you done move, and you be like, you just push the button.
Exactly.
You know, so you brought the thing to make you get up and walk every hour, get your 250 steps in.
Oh, Lord.
All right, now I got it.
They're even making them in nice colors to motivate me.
All right, enough of this. All right,
Yes,
so part of what's happening with us entrepreneurs, I don't know if you all have experienced this, but many that I know, including myself, we're always thinking. We're always problem solving.
Okay.
We're always trying to figure stuff out. And I noticed that when I was younger, that there's a correlation between when I think a lot, it's hard for me to move a lot.
Okay.
So just sharing.
So is that your thing? Is that the thing?
That's his thing.
That's your thing. That's your confabulation.
No, I mean, that's a lot of people.
That's your alternative.
Well, that's your alternative truth.
There's a lot of people that I talk to in this sphere.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
So we got so many alternative truths out here. So alternative facts.
Now, what are you talking? You twisted my wife. No, it's not an alternative truth for alternative fact.
That's just real.
I was going to say something
I'm sorry.
inspiring. Go for it.
May I?
Yes.
This only take a second.
Yes.
Played football. And when they snapped the ball, the more I thought about what it was I was supposed to do, the harder it was for my feet to move. So what they tell us is what they taught us is, don't think, react. You do your thinking in the boardroom. You do your thinking in the classroom. You do your thinking in the meeting room. But when that ball is snapped, don't think, react, hit it. So I noticed in my entrepreneurial endeavors, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to figure out problems all day long. Not just my problems, but hers and everybody else's that do something here, as an example. And what happens is I start fixing those problems, and I think about them, and I sleep with them, and then I get the text messages all day and all night about them. And what's happening is I find that it's hard for my body to move when my mind is stuck in that inertia of thinking. Just sharing.
Well, you know, and that's just some true stuff. Thanks for sharing. But at the end of the day, Roland, then you left you out of your equation.
Yeah.
See, you're not important to you. You have put all of that thought process into everything else, and you forgot about you. And that's for most of us entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. I'm interesting that I hear a man say this, because I know that's what we women do.
Yes.
So now the men is doing it as well.
Yeah.
So it's like we're putting everything else before we put ourselves.
Right.
So when he's right about the overthinking, like don't think, just be.
Right.
Just be. So as it relates to reaction and everything and thinking in the boardroom. So you're thinking every day, but not understanding, how do you get the answer? How do you get the answers you want? So that goes back to related to what you do with your body, what you do with your mind. So that goes back to how you moving, how you eating, how you sleeping. See, that's the correlation that's missing, because we're thinking. I can't get clear. I can't come up with an answer. I don't have any creativity. I got to fix it for her. I got to fix it for him. I got to do this. I can't get the answer. So now you haven't done anything. You haven't given your brain anything to feed off or to help you. You go lay down, so your brain is still spinning.
Right.
You know, and you're still trying to come up with these answers.
Right.
But if you would have just stopped through the course of your thought process and took a walk, stepped away, did a few jumping jacks. I mean, you were an athlete. Right. When you talk about getting down, how long it take to do 25 push-ups, Roland, in the middle of your day.
Exactly.
That's going to change your endorphins. Right. And that's the piece that we forget, because again, like he said, he's stuck. So if you had a Fitbit, would it make you move? Exactly. And that's my point. Yeah. Because so many of us are buying those things, but it's not doing.
It's an accessory. It has become an accessory. I've seen people with pink. I've seen people with yellow. I'm like, they're very cute. But what does that actually mean?
So what will it take for you to change that?
I have no idea yet. So I'm trying to figure out what that is. So as I do it, as I first recognize it, and then start to figure out ways to deal with it. And one of the things that I'm considering is in the morning, whatever time I wake up, even if it's 5 o'clock in the morning, start moving, do some exercise or something, and try to go back to sleep.
Right.
Maybe that'll work, maybe it won't. We'll see.
So would you plank with me?
No.
Now I have planked with her. And let me make a confession while we're talking about planking.
I just needed to throw that in there.
She's the plank champion. Okay, and one morning I got up early.
Good for you.
And she was on, and she was planking and having this long dialogue. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to get up. I'm going to plank too. So I'm planking, and I'm breathing, and I started wobbling. And I said, you know what? I'm going to lay down and just listen. I said, she'll never know. But I do plank now because of you. I didn't like to do that at first.
But you know what it does, though, when we talk about planking and moving, though? It has nothing to do with the body. It has nothing to do with the exercise. As much as it has to do, Roland, with a commitment,
right?
You being consistent.
Yeah.
Like when you're looking for that one thing. I mean, I use planking. That's what I threw out to the world. But even if you say every day, I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to do 10 squats. Every day you get up and you do those 10. It's something to look forward to.
Right.
It absolutely, I do planking simply because the squatting just going to touch my bottom. The planking going to touch everything. So it's a matter of what is it, how you want to optimize it.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, it's the thing. What is that thing that you're going to do every day? Because just like any habit, it's going to change your life. So when you get up and you do something every single day that you look forward to, like today is day 480 for me in the Plank Talk Challenge. I have planked for 480 days straight.
And how many minutes a day do you plank?
Right now, I plank 15 to 20 minutes a day.
Okay, I exaggerated your plank time. I told somebody 30 minutes.
But no, the reason
30 minutes a day.
I cut back because I was losing too much weight.
Oh,
so I used to plank anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour.
You know that's a problem so many people would love to have.
So come on and plank with me.
Plank with her.
You know. So and that's what it was. I was losing too much because after. If for those of you that's even considering it, and go to Plank Talk Nation, right, and join us. But if you can just plank for 1 to 3 minutes a day and get yourself to that 90-day, you know, the same thing like when you go get a job, you're on probation for how long?
Isn't it? Is it
90 days, right? 90 days before.
I haven't been on a job for probation for a long time.
But 90 days before you get your benefits, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So the same thing with the plank. 90 days before you really get the benefit of the plank. Right?
Okay.
So you know your medical kick in, you know your prescription kick in, your sick time kick in, your holidays kick in.
Yes.
Same thing with the plank. Your body kicks in and move your metabolism to its highest, where you're consistently spending 24 hours a day. Right. So that benefit has kicked in. So if it's something that you're continuing and you're trying to, you know, reduce your caloric intake, all you got to do is plank for up to 3 minutes a day. Okay. I'm overdone. I'm just showing off.
You're showing out.
Showing out. I am. Okay. But why stay in the same space?
There you go. There you go. There you go. And Roland, we were talking about, you know, scheduling that time. You know, like for me, I get up early. I usually get up around 5:15, 5:30, and I go work out in the morning. I'm not one of those people who say, oh, I'm going to work out at lunchtime, because no, I'm not. Or I'm going to work out after I've done. No, I'm not. I'm going to work out early and get it out of the way, because that's how I start my day.
But that's you knowing you.
That's me knowing me. I'm not gonna go work out after work. No, I'm not. So I'm not even gonna set myself up and tell that alternative truth, because that's not gonna happen.
I love that.
When I'm done for work for the day, I want to relax.
And you know, and it really is a myth as to when you should do it. You got 24 hours to get it in.
Yes.
You get it in where you fit it in.
There you go.
And see, whatever works for you. I tell folks to work out in the morning before their brain figure out what they're doing.
Yes.
Fool yourself. So, and not only that, like you said, you done gone through your day, you're working, your day done caught up with you. 9 times out of 10, unless you're already on that side, for those like us, we're trainers, so it don't matter.
Right.
Some way in the course of my day, I mean, I train people all day, but that has nothing to do with me.
You. Right.
So when I get mine in, I'm going to make sure I get mine in. It doesn't matter what time. I don't go to bed without it because that's how I have conditioned myself.
Wow.
So, but for anybody else, it's the same thing. But you have to know your schedule, know your body, and you have to know what you're going to do. So if it means, like Roland says, if you got to get up extra earlier to just get it done, even if it's to go back to sleep.
Right.
But it's not all about the movement. You have to make sure that you are drinking enough water.
Yes.
You have to make sure that you're eating. A lot of us want to lose weight, but we're not feeding our bodies what it needs to release. So you have to know that whole pie and understand about movement. Please, 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 you cannot out-train a bad diet. You just can't out-train a bad intake.
Right.
You just
can't do it.
You can't do it.
Can't do it. Work out for an hour and then you say, you know what, I'm gonna reward myself. I'm gonna go have a double whatever.
And you rewarded yourself when you just worked out for the hour. Right. And I think, again, we have to flip the script on how we feel about our bodies and what we're doing to it as it relates to movement. I had a client that says, I don't want to do it. It's too hard. It's too hard. Why does everything has to be hard? So you know me, I'm crazy. So I went and bought easy buttons, the little staple.
The red ones.
So I gave them all Christmas presents.
That is funny.
I gave them easy buttons because they kept saying everything was hard.
That's funny.
So I gave them an easy button. I said,
like
okay,
that.
so you wanted me to give you easy.
Here's easy.
So I gave them the easy button. So they was pissed.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
But at the end of the day, the power is really in your hands.
Right.
It's girl talk, male talk, just talk. Real talk is that you have the power to change your life.
That's right.
In 1 minute. All you have to do is make a decision, own your decision, and work your decision.
Right. So, all right. So I guess we are coming up on our last couple of minutes. So one of the things that I want to do, I wanted to talk about the HPV vaccine. I wanted to talk about that really, really quick. And then I want you to tell us about your wellness facility.
Okay.
That's local in Maryland. People are always talking about they can't find a place to go to. Yes, you can. There's a beautiful establishment that she is the proprietor of, the CEO and owner of, and we should patronize our local businesses. Okay, so I want to talk about the HPV vaccine, the human papilloma vaccine that the physicians are trying to force our young girls into getting. For some reason, they're thinking that this will be a prevention of either ovarian or uterine cancer. And as I explained to someone over the weekend, that vaccine, first of all, is too new. This is my opinion. Now, I worked in vaccines, so I'm giving you my professional opinion. Anything that has been on the market less than 10 years does not have the scientific data to support its long-term effects. Okay? And I just feel very, very strongly. If I had a daughter, I would say no.
Me too.
To that. Your opinion?
That's my opinion.
Your opinion.
Because so my opinion is I'm glad I don't have to fight that fight for my daughter, but I am fighting that fight for my granddaughters. So, I have 16-year-old granddaughters. And so, me and my daughter had the discussion and we said, no. You can't force anything.
That's right.
I fought not to even give my kids vaccines. When they were younger.
That's
so
right.
only because my knowledge. And again, it's a personal choice.
Right.
I would say do your homework.
Yes.
Do your research.
Yes.
And see if there is an alternative. I'm always looking for alternatives.
That's right.
And you have to find out what's good for you. So that's exactly what I would leave people with. These are very personal choices. So with, again, do the homework. It's out there, and see if it's a good fit for you and your child, and make a very wise decision on it, and make a future decision on it. That's what I say. See, because you got to look at the long-term effect that this stuff is having in our community, on our children, and what. So that's just my opinion.
No, and that's a great opinion, because I'm of the same mindset. And I, have worked in that field for many, many years, and it is a personal decision. But I think as parents, as mothers, we have to educate ourselves, and we have to educate our daughters. So this has been absolutely phenomenal. I have thoroughly enjoyed this. We have gone over time, but that's okay. We started a tad bit late. We started
over here telling us off.
Wrap it up. We started, a little bit late, but what? This has been such great information. And I think that we have blessed so many people with our discussion tonight. And so, Candice, if people want to reach you, let's give them some information.
Well, first you can find me at CandiceCamille.com. So that's my website. All the information about everything that we do in Candice Camille Enterprises and Pure Neuphoria Wellness Boutique is there. I am on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, at The Wellologist and Candice Camille. You can find me on all of those platforms. And currently I am the National Wellness Director of the CEO, a Black CEO movement.
Oh.
So I have a lot of wellness stuff going on. Again, social media, we are very out loud in social media to be well. So just connect with me. I would love to connect with each and every one of you to see if we have any programs that you can offer. And I just want to just show you my book here, because on this show, what we have done is basically giving you permission to win with the information. So with all the information, I am co-author of this book, with permission to win, and that's what it's all about. Give yourself permission to win in your life. Always be on the hunt for the person you have yet to become.
Okay. And if we wanted to spend some time at your wellness facility, where is that located?
It's located in Fort Washington, Maryland. And actually it's in Tentalia North. Again, just look me up. You can reach me. Again, I'm public. So just look me up, Google me, and you will find us.
And I believe, and not just the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the emotional, all of that works together when we're talking about health and wellness. And for me, I'm a best-selling author, and our book is Daily Directions for Women in Business. It's a co-author book with Melanie Bonita and about 30 other wonderful people, and that's available on Amazon and through my site. But this has been an absolutely phenomenal interview, and I must bring this in. Don't forget about my king, Hakia Me. Holler at the Success Scholar. So thank you again, Roland, for letting us stay over time tonight. And thank you, everyone, for joining in with us tonight. And we will be back next week, or Hakia will be back next week, 8 o'clock p.m., eLife Media, Everlasting Life, Broadcasting Live. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you.